Going and it's on.
I'll just write hi on the board.
Hello, peoples.
So I've got the Euro game on behind the board, so that way you can't see the game, you can't hear it either. So it's pretty. I don't know if one-sided is the word. In soccer, is it considered one-sided when it's 2-0? It's not really a surprise
any
either.
videos in the future about the Nordiques?
Yes, especially considering the throwbacks that Colorado did. I can do more stuff on the Nordiques. So yeah,
Any reason for the live stream? Because we haven't had one in forever, and
there's no hockey
not
today.
Hockey.
And it's as good a time as any.
We used to do them on Saturdays.
We used to do them on, yeah.
But Saturdays have been super busy with the season.
Okay, so mocha and coconut are the ones that are arriving today.
Oh, okay.
So
how will the Rangers be next year?
I was bullish on the Rangers this year. I still am. I still think they're going to be just fine. Lafreniere's a year older, Kakko's a year older, I should say. I think they'll be fine. Shesterkin another year as a starter. I think they have a chance of getting a at least, well, I would say a wild card spot in the East.
Will the Sharks make the playoffs next year?
No. The Sharks need to probably spend the next three years, I would say, building up their prospect list and getting themselves put back together. So I can't see them in the playoffs next year. Although it's the Pacific, anything could happen.
Are the Penguins still your lowest liked team?
I have no idea. I really don't think about it too much. I mean, honestly, it depends on the situation. It depends on who's playing for which team. I cheer for players now as much as I cheer for teams. So this might be part of the reason why I've been getting so many jerseys with names on the back now.
Shannon's done videos on why he likes the Bruins.
Yep.
And the Canucks and the Stars.
Yep. I actually did one this week.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
On the three of them. And how I'm the jinx. It's my fault they don't win.
That is true.
Yeah, it's all on me.
Right.
It's a shame.
Do we see the Avalanche win the Stanley Cup next year?
I do think that they could have a good run next year. They have all the pieces they need. The question becomes, is Grubauer the guy that's going to get them through 4 rounds? I think he could be. Outside of that, I think adding a defenseman along the same lines as when they had Rob Blake, when they had Ray Bourque, find a veteran defenseman that's looking for a last kick at the can type thing, and that's something that they could absolutely use. Other than that, yeah, they're pretty well situated. If I had told people back when Tampa got knocked out in 4 straight in the first round, if I had said, hey, so they're going to win the Stanley Cup next year, people would have laughed at me over it. Still happened. So from one year to the next, things can change quickly.
How big of an overhaul do you think the Bees undergo in their bottom 6 in the summer?
Boston has to change things. It's obvious that you need to be able to play. You need to be able to roll all 4 lines. You need to be able to play an up-tempo style. And it feels like when the Bruins' first line isn't on the ice, they're just overmatched against really good opponents. And so I do think the bottom 6 gets revamped. I think the second line, it's possible they keep that together next year, but considering the way that everything petered out against the Islanders, I don't think you rule anything out.
No, never been to Florida.
Nope.
Why is Tom Wilson your favorite player?
He's up there. I mean, he's at least in the top 700 in the NHL.
He's
at least in the top 700.
Shannon's done quite a few videos about where he gets his jerseys from.
Yeah, this one came from the AHL store.
But there are a few. Like, it's generally an annual thing that you do, right?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Do
I think
does the Bruins do you think the Bruins defense is heavy enough? Are the Bruins tough enough? You said getting younger and faster, but I thought they were too gentle with the aisle.
See, It is one way of looking at it, and yet they kept getting fined, so they were definitely crossing the line in the series. I think it's a matter of finding the right guys. So it's not just a matter of toughness; it's a matter of finding the right guys and the right mix. You look at that fourth line on the Islanders; that's fantastic. Boston doesn't have anything like that. They're going to need to take some of that cap money they're going to save on some of the expiring contracts and definitely revamp the bottom six without spending too much money. Because if you invest way too much money in that bottom six, it comes back to haunt you too.
Where's your Habs gear? Hashtag represent Canada. It's on the rack. There's a lot of it.
There's a ton of Habs
Don't
gear.
you worry. There will be
ton.
plenty of opportunity for him to wear
I have a ton of
gear
Habs stuff.
this coming week. Are you Michael Bublé's doppelganger? They don't even look alike.
I got my notification today was that it was a year ago today that you took the picture of Mike and I.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a year ago.
A year ago today you got to play hockey?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. So we need to get that going again.
It's sad. Do you see Ovi signing anywhere besides the Capitals?
No. I think if Ovechkin doesn't sign with the Caps, I think he'll go home. I think he'll sign in the KHL if he doesn't go back to the Caps.
What's your next arena to visit that you haven't yet visited?
I would think somewhere in California.
No, my shirt says straight out of quarantine. I'm not tall enough. Straight out of quarantine. So
Sure.
I've got plague doctor. Don't you dare.
I was going to show people.
See?
It's easier that way.
No, you're not picking me up.
It's easier that way.
No. Bad Shannon. Okay. Does Edler get his jersey retired when he's done?
I don't know if they retire his number. I think what they'll probably do is they'll add him to the Ring of Honor. I think he'll end up in the Ring of Honor.
Are you okay since the Jets' early exit?
Are you okay,
I'm assuming
sweetie?
that question is directed towards me. Yeah,
okay?
I'm fine. I didn't think that they would I was hopeful before the series started, but then I was telling Shannon, can they just win one?
But you wanted Toronto. You knew that Winnipeg had a better chance against Toronto.
I wanted Toronto to win. I wanted the Jets to play Toronto. I thought those would be really fun games. I thought the Jets would have a better chance against Toronto. I thought that would be a really fun series. So it was sad, but I didn't think they were going to win. After that first game, and then the second game was just one of those, can they win one game, though? Can it not be a sweep? That'd be great. Thank you.
See, I accepted the Bruins were out when they lost Game 5. I was like, yeah, that's it. It's done. It's done.
I wore my whiteout hoodie for one of the games and my whiteout shirt for one of the games, and it didn't help. I don't know.
You would think they'd know.
I know the series before that, as soon as I put on my whiteout hoodie, they scored.
Yeah.
And then they won that game. And they had been behind.
Mm-hmm.
So
you did it.
Clearly, it was on me that they won that game.
Still too
But it didn't work. Okay. How does Yvonne feel about all the baddies on your line? I'm assuming they're talking about the Bruins or... Yeah.
I don't know how many baddies there were. Like I said, there were a lot of fines.
I think the Bruins aren't as physical or as aggressive players as they used to be, but they still have that reputation. And so
then when they cross
still
that
say
line,
that they're dirty players.
Well,
but they don't seem to be as dirty players as they used to be.
They pick and choose their moments.
Yeah, I think there are plenty other teams that have quite a few dirty players.
I find that at playoff time, everything gets amplified. Plays that we wouldn't have thought anything about during the regular season, during the postseason, there's a lot more analysis of some of these hits and plays that otherwise wouldn't be considered a big deal.
Okay. Canucks make the playoffs next year or will get another year of misery and despair. Also, your thoughts on Brad Shaw.
Brad Shaw should be a good addition. They definitely needed to shake things up on that coaching staff. I personally think the Canucks should get back into the playoffs next year, being back in the Pacific, a normal schedule, and Pettersson being back to full health and hopefully bouncing back. There's a lot of reasons to think what Vancouver did this year was underachieving, the same as last year. They probably overachieved. Reality is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, we'll go to Abbotsford games next year.
I've already started
That'll be
getting emails back and forth
awesome.
with them.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
They're naming the team. We get a say in what the team name's going to be.
Hockey McPuckface?
No, they're going to send out. I think it's 5 options that they're going to send out.
Oh, what they've learned from other people that you don't just out of anything. What would you like it to be? Now vote. It's funny. Okay, who do the Kings go after at FWD to play with Kopitar?
That's a tough call. Because the Kings are looking for 2 top 6. You'd have to think one of them's going to end up with him. Honestly, I'd be interested to see if they would sign Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Nugent-Hopkins can play at center and he can play at wing. And if he can't work things out with Edmonton, if he went to LA, he'd still be in the same division. He'd still be on the West Coast. I mean, Nugent-Hopkins would be a decent addition. He's not that old either, so might be a good pickup. But if he does hit the market, he's going to have a lot of different suitors. He's going to have a lot of options.
Given that Drouin and Tatar are most likely gone next season, who are the Habs signing or trading for in the offseason to bolster the left wing?
Based on the overall development of Kotkaniemi, Caulfield, Romanov, I don't think they're going to be that aggressive. I think the smartest thing that Bergevin could do would be to kind of say, okay, we've done well. We emerged from the North. We're in good shape and don't overcorrect. I think that the additions he made in the last offseason turned out to be pretty solid. So I don't think they need to do a lot. Just protect Primo, make sure that he is developing properly so that when Price is ramping down, that he's able to ramp up.
Do you think the Leafs will ever win a game 7 ever again?
Yeah.
I live a life of pain.
Eventually they will. Every team goes through it, and eventually you win a game 7 or you win that game 6, so you don't have to go to a game 7, one or the other.
Can the Dallas Stars win the Cup next year?
No, I don't see Dallas as being a Cup contender next season. I think they should. They'll contend for a playoff spot. Ottinger's a pretty darn solid goaltender, and they've got 2 horses on the blue line with Heiskanen and Klingberg, but I don't see them being a Stanley Cup champ. Hey, Kitty.
It skipped. For Spina, you're going to take a look at the Coliseum or the new one at Belmont. We'd love to see you on the island before the West Coast.
The new arena at Belmont's supposed to be fantastic.
Okay. Which team is looking strongest of the last 4, in your opinion?
Tampa is just. It was so impressive what they did against the Carolina Hurricanes. They seem to be getting better as the playoffs go along. Hey, Kitty.
Where's Bear? Is she not over here? I can't see behind the board. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
she's not.
I guess she's in our room.
Could be. Or
she's in our room, or she's eating.
Food. I miss the weekly COVID era live stream hangouts. Yes.
Yeah, we used to do them twice a week.
3, because we did one on the other channel as well. Guy, yeah.
We're going to start doing the Entertainment Guy live streams too.
Do you think the Habs can win the Cup this year?
If you're in the Final 4, you can. The Cinderella teams, the teams that aren't supposed to be there, usually end up losing at some point. But I mean, it's Montreal, and the last time Montreal won the Cup in '93, they weren't supposed to win it that year either, so it's possible. And '93 was the year where all the favorites were out.
Is Zika line the best bottom 6 line in the NHL?
I would say you can make the argument it's the best 4th line in the NHL. Vegas right now might have the best 3rd line in the NHL with Kolasar and Carrier, and Tuck. I think that's the 3. Vegas, I think, for the 3rd line, Islanders for the 4th line. Yeah, you can make that argument.
What about a bird?
In the news of the day video this morning, there was that chickadee right at the window. Like, it was so loud. And then as soon as I was done the video, it left.
That's funny. The birds like to mock the cats.
But what was funny was it's right at the window. It's so loud, and Shadow just slept. The cats are so used to birds now.
Attention.
Cats are so used to birds now that they're desensitized. They're like, whatever, go away.
What would you say the Rangers need in their lineup or otherwise to make the playoffs / be a contender? Also, what do you think of Nils Lundqvist?
Lundqvist coming in next year is going to be good for the Rangers, but I think some more experience would help the Rangers. Each passing year that those kids get, they should get better. Could probably use some more sandpaper in their lineup, especially with the Metro being as tough as it is. That would probably help. Where are you going? What? Well, people asked about you, so here you are. Don't grunt at me. I'm not allowed to pick you up. You're my cat. But yeah, I think a little bit of toughness would help.
If you had to pick a player to get an 8-year deal to Seattle, who would it be? Hello from your neighbor to the south. Can't wait for another meetup.
I get the feeling that if they can get Dougie Hamilton on an 8-year deal, I think they'll do it. Keep in mind that Ron Francis was the GM in Carolina as well, so he's still got links between himself and Carolina. I think if they could get Hamilton on a long-term deal, I think they would do it. But again, we'll see what Carolina does and if they're protecting and if they're able to hold on to him.
At what point are the Isles not a Cinderella team? Do they deserve respect at this point, or is this 2 luck years in a row?
Well, if you're a lower seed, you're always going to be seen as an unlikely team to make that run. But going forward, they won't be seen that way. They're going to be seen as a very dangerous team. So next year's playoffs, that won't be the conversation as much. And luck doesn't get you to the third round. You can get through one round on luck, sure, but they didn't beat Boston by luck. They just worked harder.
There are videos explaining how expansion drafts work. There was one, at least one, that was done when Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Did theirs.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing?
I'll do another one. I'll do
right?
another one once the protected lists are released next month. I'll do a video on who's available and what they're going to be looking at and everything.
But there are some videos explaining that from back when Vegas was starting. Oh, somebody wants to know if there's new jerseys or thirds coming out.
There are. They're going to be late. They're going to be late this year, though. So I go back and forth with Ben, whose email is in the link every live stream and every video that I do. And so, yeah, there's going to be thirds, but they're going to be delayed and coming out until a lot of them, it looks like, won't come out until December or January. The Seattle jerseys will be available for him in September, which tells me that the Seattle team store is going to have them in August. The team store will get the first couple of weeks usually to sell exclusively. And then all your retailers like Cool Hockey, Sports K, and Ben H Sports, they're allowed to sell them after that point. But yeah, they're going to be delayed. I would imagine that they'll reveal them in August. I also think from the teams that I've seen, there's probably going to be some of the reverse retros that become thirds next year. And the thought process is if they go from a reverse retro to a third, they'll just drop that RR tag off of it, and the rest of the jerseys can be exactly the same.
Be a new jersey.
No,
because it won't have that tag on
it. I'm not that crazy. I'm
Good.
Not. It's not going to happen.
Good.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Do you think
Unless...
Do you think Eichel to Nashville could happen? Maybe they could work out a deal with Seattle to move Duchesne or something like that.
Oh man, they'd have to give up so many first-round draft picks. They wouldn't have one for like the next 5 years because Duchesne's contract is cumbersome. And for Seattle to take that on, you've got to think that's at least a first, maybe 2 of them. And then for Eichel, they're going to want first-round draft picks and prospects as well. And they're going to want somebody in their lineup. Eichel, I understand from the most recent reports from Elliot Friedman that the Sabres are actually looking at moving on without Eichel. They're going to ask for a king's ransom, and rightfully so. When Eichel is healthy and productive, he is one of the top 10 centers in the National Hockey League.
Thoughts on Christian Ericsson's situation?
I was really surprised they came back and finished the game. I really thought when a guy collapses like that, and then they did CPR, so it was a heart attack because it's the only reason you do CPR. He stops breathing, cardiac arrest. Honestly, and I know that the players wanted to come back and play. I wouldn't have given them the option if I was in charge of that. I would have pushed their game back 2 days. I would have said, all right, we'll come back and we'll do this in 2 days. I would have pushed the game back. It's honestly, it's not the end of the world to push a game back a couple of days. And even if the players go, no, we want to finish. Nope, we'll finish it in a couple of days. Go home, relax. Just and then, from the game, how the game went after that, I don't see how you're 100% in the game. I just don't. I don't see how they could have all been 100% focused on the game for both teams, even Finland as well. It shook up Finland to see him drop like that. So that was
anybody.
Both teams were shaking
up. Shannon's dealer. Hey kid, want a jersey? That's kind of how the emails go. Hey Shannon, guess what's coming in?
He does throw in free samples here and there.
What size you want? Well, no, he already knows your size.
If I drive him business, he will throw in a free sample here and there.
Is Paul Maurice a top 10 coach?
I don't know that I'd have him top 10. Top half of the league, maybe. Top 10, borderline top 10.
Shout out to Humboldt Broncos survivor Ryan Straczynski. He's been paralyzed from the chest down, but Thursday he stood with the aid of a walker.
You saw that, right?
Yeah, I did.
Because they had that on all the socials. They had that on the news as well. Yeah.
I mean, it's good for him, but those always make me cry.
Yes. What was on the news last night that made you cry? I don't remember what it was. There's something on the news that made you cry last night.
The Muslim family.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's really, I don't like.
Right.
I have trouble with news.
She does. She absolutely does. So I put on the Big Bang Theory because then she's just aggravated.
Yeah, I really don't like that show.
But then you're aggravated.
Hey, Big Bang Theory's on. Yeah, it's always on. Always. It's never not on. And they're horrible.
They're horrible
It's a show
people.
full of horrible people.
Saying horrible things to each other.
Yeah, they're awful. Okay. Hi, THG. Been watching your channel for a while now, and I had a quick question. Why are teams not wearing reverse retros for the playoffs? They barely wore them for the season.
They're not allowed. Apparently, there's an NHL regulation.
Go Kings, go.
There's an NHL regulation. You have a home and away jersey you pick at the start of the playoffs. So you can wear your third. Oh. If you were going to pick the reverse retro, you have to wear it the entire playoffs.
That's silly.
So, yeah, they're not allowed.
Why?
Don't ask me.
Dumb.
Don't ask me. I have no idea.
Some of the teams barely wore their reverse retros, and I think it's silly.
Well, the Ducks only wore them twice because guys probably wanted to be traded.
Like they only wore them twice.
Guys are probably like, if we got to wear that a third time, I'm out of here.
There were some teams that wore them a decent amount, but there were several.
Well, Vancouver wore them twice. 4 games in a row and then never wore them
again.
And they lost all 4 games. So why did the Canucks miss the playoffs? That jersey. So I don't think we'll see that one come back.
How well would Gerard Gallant fit with the New York Rangers?
I think Gallant, wherever he lands, I think he'll do just fine. I was interested to see that Columbus was considering bringing him back before they ultimately settled on Brad Larson. I think he'll be a good fit. I'm kind of surprised that he's not already been named a coach somewhere. But the Rangers, I think that would work. He's able to get the most out of his players the first couple of years that he's with the team.
Somebody saying that you see the cats more than you see me. Well, yeah, the cats are next to him all day long. I'm not.
Well, if you want an Yvonne tree, we could try to build an Yvonne tree. Did you want a tree to sit on it? You could sit and knit in the background. Just be in the background. Yeah. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, they're going to drop okay off. Oh, that's perfect.
Are they?
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
So then you don't have to worry about picking them up.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Will the Habs be true contenders through the 2020s?
That's almost impossible to predict because things change from year to year so dramatically in many cases. The problem they're going to have is that Atlantic division looks stacked. So Tampa Bay, Florida looks like they're going to be better. Boston, I'm still waiting on Boston to get clawed back a bit in the standings. That may happen next year. Toronto's still going to be really good. I know people are going to troll them until they win in the playoffs, but during the regular season, they're still going to be pretty darn good. So, yeah, Montreal's probably going to be in tough, but they should be in the mix for a playoff spot.
When Benning said he's going to be aggressive, you think he was talking about buyouts, or we can expect a big trade or signing regret later?
I like to think that he was misquoted and that he meant like he's going to start doing like some kind of Wolverine fighting during the off season. You know, that he'll get into like a steel cage with Wolverines and start fighting them. That's the way to be more aggressive. I'd prefer that to him signing free agents.
No Yvonne trade.
It scares me. It scares me, the idea of him basically getting buyouts from Francesco Aquilini so he can add bad contracts to replace the other bad contracts that he just had to buy out. That's not a recipe for success.
When does Yvonne become the co-host on THG permanently? Can you imagine the kids? If I was in all the videos.
I've told her, I've said, you know, can you do this preview for me? Can you do this review?
The comment section would be
awful. I've had nights where
awful.
I've had nights where when I'm doing the playoff games and there's really a lot of notes, I'm like, can you just take the rest of these notes? And you can do the review. It'll be fine.
It would not be fine.
Nobody's going to care.
Oh my gosh. People would so care.
Her notes would be completely different than mine.
They would be. And people would be so ticked and would tell me all about how I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't have a penis. So I don't know anything
about... Cute sweater in the front row.
Yeah, I don't know anything about hockey. So...
the song they're singing is aggravating.
Oh my gosh, they do some annoying songs, don't they?
Why is this commercial on again?
Yeah, right. At least I don't have to watch the American commercials now that it's playoff.
Geico commercials are fantastic.
Those are funny, but a lot of the others are weird.
Geico,
some weird
Limu commercials are really good too.
Those are still
the farmers insurance commercials are good too. Covered it. You know, the ones we been there, done that, covered it. Yeah, those ones are good too.
But they have those weird local like car salesmen.
I love those.
You're like,
I love those.
A real commercial.
It's Crazy Jerry's.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy they don't Jerry's. Just make fun of these commercials. Man. Like they're real commercials. People actually make commercials like that.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's great.
Anyways.
It's fantastic.
Love your videos. You've made a lot of wrestling references through the past couple years. Who are some of your favorite wrestlers, hockey related? Are the 92-93 Penguins the best team to not win?
The 92-93 Penguins were fantastic, and then their ego got in the way. And that's why they lost to the Islanders. It was ego. Kevin Stevens, great teams win these games, and we're the great team. So they just put that on their bulletin board and go, see what he said? Let's go out and beat him. Favorite wrestlers, let's see, Bret Hart, Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat was one of my all-time favorites. Dusty Rhodes, Sting, and I'm talking about pre-Crow, not post-Crow Sting. Because he used to hoot and holler, and then he went quiet when he got the Crow makeup.
Okay.
Owen Hart, and then, I mean, obviously Stone Cold. I still quote Stone Cold plenty. And of the current wrestlers, Jericho. Have to be Jericho. Jericho's fantastic. Just for somebody yelling at him to go back to Toronto and him turning around and yelling at a fan in the crowd. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
But all of Canada is Toronto. Didn't you know that?
Know,
we all live in Toronto.
Back to Toronto. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
Just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work. Your videos have really been amazing for helping get through the pandemic, especially when 2021 likes to throw curveball after curveball my way. Best of luck and go Jets, go.
Thank you. And I'm glad, and that's why I do daily videos, because I know there's people that's part of their routine and it's part of normalcy. And so when the pandemic hit, I knew it was important to keep that normalcy going with daily videos.
In your opinion, if Eklund, Wallstead, and Edvinsson are available, who should the Wings take, and who do you think Yzerman would take?
I think Yzerman would take Edvinsson, and I think that would probably be the right call. Wallstead is going to go pretty early in the draft, though. There's a part of me kind of hoping that maybe at 9, Jim Benning will draft a goaltender just to throw everybody completely off. Because we already have Demko, but you can't have too many goaltenders too many good goaltenders. And yeah, he's probably going to go in the top 10. Detroit's possible because Detroit could use a good young goaltender. But I have a funny feeling that it would be hard for him to pass on Edvinsson if he was there.
Who would you want Seattle's opponent to be on their opening night in Seattle? Vegas? Vancouver?
Vancouver.
We got to see.
I'd like to see a home and home.
Pregame for Vegas, it was in Vancouver.
I'd like to see a home and home between Vancouver and Seattle to start the season for them. I think that'd be nice. Be enjoyable. Right?
Super duper.
We could go to both. We could go to Seattle and then we could go to Vancouver or vice versa.
Thoughts on the new Trois Rivières logo from ECHL?
I haven't seen that yet.
I have not.
I've got a couple of ECHL jerseys too. Not very many. I've got a couple. I know I've got Orlando, and then there's another one that I have somewhere. I've got that all on my Instagram, though. I've got my Instagram. I took pictures of all of my jerseys, which caused me to lose followers on Instagram pretty quick because I was posting them all the same day. So it was
People are getting really irritated.
It was every team. So it was like about 40 posts. I just flooded Instagram with all my jersey pictures because I was taking pictures, putting them on my Google Drive. So I have pictures of every jersey I have because it's not like I've ever bought a jersey and then went, oh, I have this. So that's part of the reason why. And then, of course, for countdown reasons, too. What's the problem? What?
If the Islanders expose Josh Bailey in the expansion, would they risk losing him, or would Seattle not take him with his $5 million cap hit?
I would think Seattle would take him. $5 million cap hit for what Seattle's building with. He's a good second line center. I think they would absolutely do that. What's your problem?
Why is the wife a Jets fan?
Yeah, why is the wife a Jets fan? Come on, wife.
I mean, I guess I've been called a lot worse in the comment section because they have an awesome jersey.
See, and then our daughter's a Leafs fan. I have no control over anything in this house.
Right? Yeah.
Not a Bruins fan in the bunch.
No. You know, Adelaide likes to draw the Bruins logo, though.
Oh, I did that as a kid, too, because it's easier. It's one of the easier logos.
She tries to draw the Canucks logo and gets frustrated every single time. I like the Jets because I've always been, since I was little, I used to go to hockey games with my grandma. And sometimes we just go to little local hockey games. So I wouldn't necessarily have a favorite. And I would always pick who I was rooting for on whichever goalie had the coolest helmet. So that's how that started. Right? Well, you have to. I think when you're watching any game, it's a lot more fun to watch if you're rooting for one of the teams.
Yeah.
And so that's how I would pick. And I liked the Jets in the beginning because they have a fun logo and I like their jersey. So, ta-da! That's it. Nothing super exciting, but that's how that started.
Oh.
Yeah. J.K. Simmons in Whiplash and then hit in the Farmers commercials. Not convinced. They just aren't two different people at this point.
J.K. Simmons is a fantastic, underrated actor. He really is. And nobody can ever be J. Jonah Jameson again. He owns that character. The first time I saw him play that, I was like, okay, so that is J. Jonah Jameson from the 60s cartoon of Spider-Man. Oh,
I would have no idea about a food truck in Vancouver, as we don't go to Vancouver very often, especially
There's a food truck in Vancouver?
I'm sure there's lots. I have no idea.
Go ahead.
Can't say as I've ever been to a food truck in Vancouver.
Wasn't there a food truck thing here? Or no, that's just the mini donuts.
There's a mini donuts truck this weekend.
See if they have a diet. If they have diet mini donuts.
The low calorie donut.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Sad. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Bruins fan, but I'm also not your kid.
Right. This is true. And was a Bruins fan before I met him. So my influence doesn't create more Bruins fans. I have offered many times to Yvonne, I've told her, you can cheer for Boston. I'll allow it.
And I've pointed out it is not sexually transmitted.
So peer pressure it is then. All righty.
poor daughter a Leafs fan. That should be considered bad parenting. My mom is convinced it's genetic. My grandmother really liked the Leafs.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because as a little kid, it's a Maple Leaf. So it looks like Canada's team.
Yeah.
But blue.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what started that.
I guarantee it, because she sang "Oh Canada" all the time. She walked around the house singing "Oh Canada."
She was so tiny. It was adorable.
Uh-huh.
It was cute.
Sure was.
It was.
Sure.
And then we found her that little Leafs jersey because it was on super clearance.
And now she's got a bunch of flags and she doesn't sing it anymore.
Kessel got traded. So she got that.
July 1st is coming. I can't forget.
Actually.
She's going to get upset if I forget Frankie. Oh, yeah. I can't forget Frankie.
Oh, yeah.
The flag monster. Canada flag monster.
Does Lucas Reichel start in the NHL or AHL next season? And who do you think he would play with if he starts in the NHL?
I would think he'd start on the third line. I think it's probably going to be one of those situations where he comes over, he gets acclimated in the AHL, gets used to the North American ice a little bit, and then he's up with the Hawks probably by the middle of November, late November. I don't think it's going to take him that long. It's possible he breaks camp with them too. He was projected as a pretty good player that likely took a year likely was going to take a year to be ready for the NHL. And here we are. So he's going to be close.
How often walking around are you recognized as THG?
Often.
Well, there hasn't been any walking around for a year and a half. Yeah. But before that, lots. I even get recognized when I'm not with Shannon.
Yes.
Hey, you're THG's wife.
Well, you've got purple hair. So it's not like there's a lot of people with purple hair.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Outside of anime. You went with an anime thing.
I did
not.
Makes
sense. She loves anime.
I do not.
She really does.
That is not a thing.
She thinks it's great.
I don't.
She thinks it's fantastic.
No offense to those that like it. I'm not one of them. It's not my thing.
For me, I liked the anime back in the day. Like I liked Robotech and Battle of the Planets, which was Gatchaman in Japan. Gatchaman's better than Battle of the Planets because Battle of the Planets they sanitized it and added a robot that doesn't have anything to do with them. It's weird. And then G-Force became a movie about guinea pigs.
Yes, the boys loved that when they were tiny.
And G-Force is what they're called. The heroes are called in Gatchaman. And I was like, seriously? Because the first time I heard there was a G-Force movie coming, I'm like, from my childhood, why are there guinea pigs?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. The boys loved that movie. They loved it.
Guinea pigs.
It was great.
I thought I was getting a movie with G-Force.
That's really funny.
Was guinea pigs.
Okay. Do you think JT Miller will be gone once his contract is up? And do you see the Canucks being a cup contender?
I think Miller's going to stick around as long as the Canucks want him. I think Miller wants to prove something at this point, and I think he's been decent. I think he takes too much criticism. I mean, does he make bad defensive plays? Sure. But he's a really good, solid offensive player. I think they'll move him to the middle. Cup contender, I'm not worried about. I think they'll be back in the mix for the playoffs. As long as you make the playoffs, as we've seen with the Islanders and with Montreal, it is possible for a team to go on a run. They need to have their bottom six revamped, but other than that, they should be in a decent situation as long as Bud Colson has a good rookie year.
Who do you think has a brighter future, Ottawa or Detroit?
Right now, it's Ottawa, but I would never bet against Steve Yzerman. So right now, it's Ottawa. A couple years down the road, it'll probably be Detroit.
Hey, guys, your next trip to Vegas, let me know. I can arrange a great suite for free. We will be hopefully going at Christmas this year. And
we've already put the down payment on the room for the Vidara.
Yeah.
So we're going to be staying at the Vidara, fingers crossed, in December. Fingers crossed.
I know.
So
our last two were canceled, so.
Yes.
That's sad.
And then after that, it would probably be during spring break, maybe the following August. Yep. One or the other.
Is it wide open for which New York Islander goalie is protected?
Well, they don't have to protect Sorokin. I'm pretty sure Sorokin's exempt, so they just protect Varlamov. I don't think they have to protect Sorokin at all. It was his first year.
Did you order the new hats from Van Base?
The only one I ordered, I even showed her. I ordered the Thatcher Demko, and I ordered it because it's got the zombie Johnny Canuck on it, which I think looks kind of fun. And I don't have a hat with the zombie Johnny Canuck on it, so I might as well get that.
When are you planning on having meetups again?
We're looking at towards the end of July. It'll likely be towards the end of July.
As long as numbers keep trending down.
And as long as everything's opened up, then we're
good. Get vaccinated.
Yeah. We should likely have our second dose by then.
Yeah. We should be able to get that in July.
Yep.
Okay. Am I caught up? Nope. Do you like the 5-minute overtime and shootout in the regular season? And if not, would you rather see the tie come back, or what do you wish they did?
I don't have a problem with ties. I know why the NHL doesn't like ties and they want to have a winner, so a shootout's a way to decide that extra point. But I don't like the idea of those extra points deciding who does or doesn't make the playoffs, since to me a shootout is not a hockey play. I would rather see an expansion of the overtime. The problem is the NHLPA likely wouldn't want the 3-on-3 overtime to become 10 minutes. I don't know how to fix this, because every time that you look to fix it, coaches adjust. So coaches make it so that the 3-on-3 overtime becomes kind of a defensive slog, whereas it was really exciting the first few years. There's some of them now are downright boring. So, and I don't even understand the point. I'm like, wait, so are they're playing for the shootout? They don't want to win in overtime? Like they've got the puck and they just rag it and bring it back in their own zone, and then overtime's up. Oh, okay. I don't know how you fix it, because again, I wouldn't mind seeing the tie come back, but once you've gotten rid of it, I don't think you can bring it back.
And when will they open the border?
It sounds like it'll probably be modified opening starting later this month, and then working towards being fully opened 100% by September is when we'd see it completely fully opened. But they'll open it first. It sounds like first it's going to be if you're going down to see family.
And you're fully vaccinated.
Kind of yeah.
You have to be fully vaccinated. Yeah. And Canadians should be able to go south this month and not have to quarantine if you're fully vaccinated.
Right.
And then next month, they think Americans should be able to come up here if they're fully vaccinated.
Right.
But it's not set in stone yet.
Or a negative test. I think that's a negative test.
If you're not fully vaccinated, you have to be tested in the States and then again Europe here, from what I saw. But again, it's not.
They're still working on the details.
Yeah. Do the Kraken take McDonough if the Bolts don't protect him?
See, that's going to be the interesting part. Seattle can take a guy like a Ryan McDonough for two reasons: one, to keep him, or B, to trade him. So, I mean, he'd have good trade value. I don't think you leave McDonough unprotected, because I think Seattle would definitely take him. What? What's your problem? Me? What's wrong with you?
Telling people to get vaccinated isn't being a Karen. It's telling people that I would like to have a life again. I'm sure other people would like to have a life again. And
in Canada, we've got 76% or 75%.
Yeah.
No, in BC, we've got 75.1% with first dose, 72.1% above 12 and up that have had their first dose. And then it's not around 9% for the second dose in BC.
Yeah, and that's going up pretty quick too.
Yeah.
So, if the tie came back, I did the math for all 31 teams. Blue Jackets would have been first overall before the playoffs. Torts succeeded in team play.
It is interesting. There are certain teams that would probably be playing for ties. And I remember that too. I remember teams playing for points, especially when expansion came in. You had a lot of teams that were kind of lower on the totem pole that, they would play for the tie because all the points are created equal. But I never really had a problem with it. Again, it's probably just because I'm old.
I'll get my second dose in July too. Can't wait. I know, right?
Yeah, it looks like that's when we're getting ours.
Stick to hockey. Hi, welcome to the channel. Is this your first live stream?
It is part of hockey,
people. We frequently talk about not hockey. I'm actually surprised we've had this long, almost 45 minutes, and we haven't started talking about food or going places or how the weather is or
you know when that changed?
anything like
so
that.
back in 1812.
See what you did? This is what happens when you complain about random crap.
It'll be fine.
Battle of New Orleans fought after the Treaty of Ghent, ending the War of 1812. New Orleans hasn't had an NHL franchise since. Coincidence?
Actually, before 1812, New Orleans had the idea of the National Hockey League, except it was the New Orleans Hockey League, so it was the NOHL. And the only reason that fell apart was because Gary Bettman, who of course was around during the War of 1812, he stole it. Then he copyrighted it, dropped the O, and the NHL was born. That was 1815, and part of the provision of him getting the copyright was that New Orleans would never get an NHL team.
Talk about basketball.
I don't have the only basketball related item that I would have right now would be I can't believe the Clippers are alive and the Lakers aren't. That's it. That's all. Just seeing that, I was like, really? Because I watched the last game where the Lakers got knocked out just because I couldn't believe it was happening. I know there's injuries. I know there's excuses and reasons, but still, it was insane to see that actually happen.
How much mail do we have at the border? Well, it's not at the border. It's south of the border, though.
It's going to be a lot.
I'm sure we have plenty of mail because
it's going to be more than one trip. So it's going to be a lot of trips.
Yeah.
We're going to have to prioritize what we bring back when.
Yes, because we didn't know that the border was going to shut.
Nope. I know I've got jerseys down there. I know I've got stuff down there. And we'll probably do some kind of a video when we go down to the States for that. The massive U.S. unboxing.
We've got plenty of mail down there.
Yeah.
Rent a U-Haul. Gosh, can you imagine how much that would cost to take a U-Haul across the border?
And then
pass
the customs you'd have to pay coming back too.
Oh my gosh.
Because if we brought it all back at once, it'd be hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the customs.
Because we declare what we're bringing across the border because we're not doing any of that.
Yeah. So you've got to kind of know what you're allowed to do and what you're not.
We do have somebody in the States picking it up.
That is one nice thing about when we go to Vegas.
Won't keep your stuff for you.
When we go to Vegas, that means we're in the States for about a week. And then that greatly increases how much you're allowed to bring back. And it works out much better that way.
Yeah.
So
we do have somebody picking up our mail in the very beginning, after a month, I did mail somebody in the States our mailbox key so they could check it because we were already getting stuff sent back.
You don't need me to carry you.
And so we do have somebody that has all of our mail because, they don't keep it. It gets mailed back.
She doesn't need me to carry her. She really doesn't. You don't need me to carry you.
We miss Vegas too. A lot.
Yes.
The house is full of Shannon's jerseys. No. Shannon's jerseys are in
They're all
this
in this room. They're all in this room.
The rest of our house is not super hockey.
No.
Every once in a while you see pictures of the rest of our house.
The rest of our house
looks totally normal.
The upstairs, there's nothing.
This is just the hockey room.
Yeah.
We have a decent amount of hockey. Right. This is the hockey set. The rest of our house is not super hockey. Our bedroom has quite a bit of hockey, but but the rest of the house does not. Here's a true statement you can make into a conspiracy. At least till 2013, Winnipeg had the White House on Portage Avenue and Fort Street in pre-1912.
1812.
18, yes. I
Tis the War of
said it right in my
1812,
head.
milady.
She's a pretty cat, isn't she?
Originally, the White House was in Winnipeg because Winnipeg was the capital of the US.
Mail. We have still been getting mail from subscribers to the States, and so I know we have it. I know we get it. We got something from cat fur all over you.
Of course I do. She's shedding like crazy.
Mail from a subscriber. How? Sorry, just like a week ago. Sorry, It stabbed you.
How? And that's on live camera. Haha, you're going to court.
Does Shannon have TikTok?
Myself. I do have TikTok.
Canada's not scared of COVID, but Canada does like to take care of people and not just let people be sick and dead. So there's a very big difference. It's like, I'm not scared of dying in a car, yet I wear my seatbelt because I know it protects myself. So there's a huge difference. Yeah. Goodness, people, don't be dumb, please. Let's not. If you say it's gifts, you don't have to pay duty.
Yes, you do.
Not when you're bringing a ton across. That's not how that works.
Gifts. There's a limit. There's an absolute limit on how much you can get in gifts. I've had to pay.
US is doing so much better than Canada with COVID. Just keep telling yourself that.
That's okay. Well, I mean, it depends on how you look at better. But anyways.
Right. You just keep on with that. Good luck with that. All right. Anyways, have you been to Nassau? Yeah, Nassau Coliseum.
No.
Nope.
No, we have not. And that's too bad because they're going to tear it down. And I'd love to go through the old barn. That was one thing about when I went to Edmonton 10 years ago for a Rammstein concert. I got to see Northlands, which became Rexall. I got to see Rexall before they replaced it.
I want to send you a jersey you don't have, but have trouble finding a 46. I know you have very large jerseys you've been sent, but what's the largest you'd buy?
I bought an
size
XL.
Large.
I bought an XL.
And it looks goofy on him. A large is
that Rangers Winter Classic from 2012. That's an XL.
It looks like a huge dress on you.
I know, but it's the only one I could find. Every time I find a listing for that Rangers Winter Classic, I'm like, oh, nope, still XL.
Yeah, a large is pushing it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yep.
They look huge on him. He really, a medium really is like the biggest that doesn't look ridiculous.
There you go.
Yeah, that's kind of big on me. Slightly huge.
Okay, put those there. Oh, what?
You
don't need me to carry.
Do you have a Baltimore Clippers jersey?
No, I don't. I don't have Baltimore Clippers. I have a Milwaukee Admirals, if that counts.
This is not a Flyers jersey.
It's kind of. It's a Adirondack. Lehigh Valley Phantoms. I was going to say Philadelphia Phantoms. I was going to say, a number of things. So, yeah.
Top 100 after mega unboxing and Kraken jerseys.
The Kraken jerseys are going to be interesting because I know that I'll be able to get the blue one from Ben. I know Ben will get the blue one. I don't know if the white one is going to necessarily be released public. See, the white jerseys, for whatever reason, Adidas doesn't make them a lot. So, like when I wanted the Carolina Hurricanes new white one, I had to order that through the team store. Same with Buffalo. Their new white jersey had to go through the team store. I don't know if Seattle's going to be another case of that, or if they're going to release the white jersey in a wide swath of trying to get as many people to buy Seattle as possible.
I love how needy the girl cat is. So cute. It's obnoxious sometimes, just saying.
Yeah, Shadow.
Oh my gosh.
Like earlier I was eating, and I share my food with him because for some reason he begs. But he won't meow at me for food. He'll just sort of paw. He's sort of.
She will meow like she's dying.
She goes crazy. She goes crazy. He's fine. But then I feel bad because I turn him like, oh, you wanted some food. I'm sorry. So, yeah, he's very chill. She's very needy.
Does Shannon have a Quebec Nordiques jersey?
I have a white one. I have a blue one. The ones I don't have are the WHA ones because I'm not. The WHA ones are expensive. You can get them through custom throwback jerseys, but that's like $219 US. And that's those K1 jerseys, which are pretty well made, but it's not officially licensed. WHA, it's not like we're ever going to get officially licensed WHA jerseys from the NHL. They pretend it doesn't exist. But I'd love to have Nordiques. I'd love to have Jets from that era as well.
I love all the content, Shannon. Keep up the great work. And hi,
Ivan.
You
doing, Ivan?
Yvonne. Love
Ivan the Conqueror.
Ivan's a boy.
Ivan the Conqueror. She's still a conqueror, though.
Okay, anyways. When are you going to give the people what they want and do a Dan Cloutier career video?
That would work because I'm a Dan Cloutier apologist. I can absolutely make a case for him having been a pretty darn good goaltender. His biggest issue was he would play when he was hurt. And he would insist on going in. This is why when people talk about Tuukka Rask over the last week, and well, he wanted to play. Listen, when a goaltender is not 100% and he wants to play, that's where a coach needs to step in and say, that's great, you want to play. We love that. We're not going to go with you tonight because we have to win this game, and this isn't going to work. So Cloutier was a guy who would play hurt, and I think that affected him in the playoffs. There were a couple of times where he didn't seem right, and then after the playoffs, he'd find out he had major issues. So, yeah, that's where that comes from.
Bought my first jersey after 15 years. Got Marchand.
I have a Marchand. I just haven't found a reason to wear it yet. But I have one. I got one. It's a size 46, and it's the first year of Adidas where the shoulder patches are like ridiculously small on the size 46s. So at some point I'll be doing videos this summer on like minor differences between various team jerseys that you may not have noticed, like differences in necklines and all this. And that's one of the ones I'll get into.
Slightly wider.
Yeah, that's exactly what the videos are going to be. So
do you have an Islanders Fisherman jersey?
Yes, I have the white one. Nick sent me the white one. That's a starter. And then I have a Fanatics, the blue one. And I sadly got the Fanatics because the cheapest I can find the blue one is about $400. And if it's in my size, which I can wear a small or a medium, it is so ridiculously expensive. And so, I mean, the Fanatics I consider to be a placeholder, but I don't know that I'm ever going to get, like yesterday when I was talking about which ones I don't have, I didn't even list it because I don't think I'm ever going to get
This is off-white instead of eggshell white. Yeah, that is the kind of thing.
Oh, so like the Minnesota Wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the patches don't match.
Right.
What is up with that? Right. Why do the patches not match?
See, you could be part of that video too.
Irritating.
Could have you be you could be the patch girl and I could be the jersey guy.
Patch looks silly. It doesn't match. And
there you go. We'll rebrand the channel. Patch girl and jersey guy.
Really doesn't match them. How long do you think the Bolts can remain a top team?
They've got at least another 2 to 3 years left before you have to worry about any of it. Yeah, they have cap problems, but some of those resolve themselves in the offseason. Tyler Johnson probably ends up on the Seattle Kraken next year. And yeah, they'll be able to figure out the cap. The remarkable thing with Tampa is how they keep finding young players to rotate into the lineup. Like Ross Colton came in this year, seamless transition. They always have guys coming in making that seamless transition to the NHL. As long as they have that going for them, they could be at the top for a while.
Yvonne in a game review.
I think that'd be great.
I don't know.
I think I could have a whiteboard down here. You could have a whiteboard upstairs. And then we could post competing reviews.
Mine would just be like, oh my gosh, did you hear what they said? Can you believe this?
I've noticed this year the swearing's really loud and really clear during the game. And it makes me laugh every time because the announcers go kind of quiet. And the American ones, they go really quiet. Canadian ones are like, well, he's not happy. Expressing his displeasure with the officials. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what he yelled. I express my displeasure with your officiating.
I do not agree.
Have you had your glasses checked today, kind sir? I shake my fist thusly in your direction. Have you tried removing your head from your...
Okay. What do you think Krebs and Glass? And what moves do the Knights need to do now to stay relevant 5 years from now?
Vegas at some point it's going to crash. Krebs, I know he's recovering from broken jaw, right? He's recovering. He's skating. Krebs should be the real deal. Cody Glass, I'm kind of torn on. I don't know if Cody Glass is ever going to reach that ceiling that they'd envisioned when they drafted him. The one thing that they have going for them is they have the best pro scouts in the league. And with pro scouting that's that smart, they should be able to stay relevant for a little bit longer because that means they'll be able to pick up guys like they pick up Chandler Stevenson. They always seem to pick up exactly the right guy at the right time. But 5 years down the road, I would think they shouldn't be first forever, right?
What makes the Islanders such a good playoff team? How long can this type of play from them last? Well, she looks huge when you hold her like that.
That's the only way she likes to be held, though. If I try to hold her like Bear, but if I try to hold her like Bear, look at the alarmed look on her face.
Yeah, that's not a.
The Islanders are going to be as good as Barry Trotz can make them. when Barry Trotz was in Nashville, they very regularly won way more games and did way better than they should have. Hey, kitty. And this is Pixel.
Jump.
Pixel doesn't show up in videos as often.
Would you rather join Sportsnet or ESPN if you were offered an analyst position?
I don't see how that would work since I'm on the West Coast. I just don't see how it would work on the West Coast.
How about no?
Sportsnet fires people willy-nilly all the time. At least that seems to be the case. It's one of my erasers.
Man.
But yeah, Sportsnet, you always see people getting fired. ESPN, right now, the media industry has just been culled. Like, they have so many people and so many different media empires have been getting laid off. And I don't know that changes anytime soon because everything's getting streamlined. So they're finding cheaper and cheaper ways of doing things. I honestly wouldn't feel comfortable taking a job knowing how easily they get rid of people and how replaceable everybody really is.
Do you think you guys will go to all the arenas in the NHL you haven't been to?
At some point.
It would take us a very, very long time.
Yes. Because we have kids. It's not like we can just up and go and because that's kind of the kind of thing it would take months.
We have
if you were doing like months of a trip, and I can't see.
Where can I get a Space Coyote jersey? Good luck.
I know that if you're willing to take a Fanatics, Van City Sports, I think, has it in a Fanatics. Jersey Baron might have it in a Fanatics, but it's expensive. I think it's $150 Canadian from Van City Sports. Outside of that, it is really, really hard to get. That's why I went through the team store, because I knew Ben could not get it. That was one Ben said, I can't get that one. That one, Minnesota, Tampa, there were a bunch. He said, I just can't get them. There aren't any.
A lot of money for traveling and tickets. That would be a lot of money.
It'd be a ton.
But yeah, we have children. We can't just.
I mean, a trip to Vegas works because the hotels are huge. They have really good amenities. Their internet is pretty good. Internet can be really spotty wherever you go in the US. We've had trouble
in the States. Some places they say they have really good internet and it's not.
And it's just terrible.
And it's really hard to upload.
When we stayed in Ocean Shores, that was awful. And then Red Rock.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had to hold the computer. I had to stand on the couch and hold the computer at this angle to get the video to upload. Spot.
Still take like 20 minutes for a video to upload. That was funny.
Oh, it's just
But we were told that the internet was really good there.
Yeah, and it wasn't. So
I think American standards of good internet is very different.
It's definitely different. Because I found that out when I did technical support that their phone lines aren't very good. That when when people from the States would come up, they'd say, their phone lines aren't as good in the US. So that's why their signal always drops. But yeah, it's noticeable, and so that's something I have to consider too when we're traveling.
How many arenas? Do you have yet to visit? Tampa here and Emily, beautiful, and a bar on the roof overlooking Tampa skyline. We haven't been to
Emily's supposed to be fantastic. I know before the world shut down last March, I was hoping to do a trip that encompassed Florida and Texas, where we hit Dallas and we hit Florida, and that I'd be able to see Stars games. I was thinking either Panthers or the Lightning. And then we could tie in maybe Disney World, and I could be a Jedi for a day. And because that sounds fantastic. They had this whole experience thing they were going to bring in that, of course, that got put on hold as well. But that was the plan. And then, the world came to an end. So we had to put that off until the world stopped coming to an end.
But we haven't been to very many. We've been to, of course, Vancouver.
Honda Center.
Yeah.
In Anaheim, it's Honda Center.
Yes. And then we've been to Vegas.
Rogers in Vegas. T-Mobile in Vegas. Yeah. Those are the
that's
three.
It.
Those are the
we
three.
have not done much traveling. So if
we wanted to do LA when we were in California, but it was a hassle. It was like, okay, so we have to go through all this traffic and it takes so much time. Now we're not going to do LA.
Right.
So we did Anaheim because that was within shouting distance of where we were at Disneyland.
Yes. Yeah, that was fun too.
That was fun.
We got to meet up with a lot of people there too.
Yep. Yeah, that was a fun meetup.
If you could pick any 3 players from the NHL to begin a new franchise, who would you pick?
Any 3 players? Victor Hedman, Connor McDavid, and probably Andrei Vasilevsky in net. That'd probably be the 3 that I'd pick.
Eichel gone at the draft?
Eichel likely goes. I don't know if it'll be at the draft, but I would be very surprised if he's still with the franchise once we get to October. I think if Kevin Adams is smart, he'll wait until the best possible deal is presented. And if that's at the draft, fine. But you can wait on this. It's not really a rush situation at this point, and you only get one chance to trade Eichel. It's sort of like when the Jets were looking to trade Laine. Like, you only get one chance to trade Laine, and they screwed it up. The Senators had one chance to trade Erik Karlsson, and they hit it out of the park. So you look at the difference between those 2 deals. Buffalo's got to be smart about this.
You should do an East Coast run from Boston to DC. 5 NHL arenas connected by an easy train ride.
Or you can walk.
It sounds really busy too.
That would be a busy trip.
That is one of the things we've talked about too. If we do one of those trips, we're going several places. Is it just one of those and we go to this hockey and this hockey and this hockey, and then it's not as fun if the whole time is just, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing
like
this.
during the time we're in Vegas, it would be during the Christmas break too. So there'd be 3 days without hockey in amongst the 6 days we're there. And so we'd be able to probably see a game while we're down there. If they're playing at home during that time, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's about taking the trip as much as it's about the hockey side of it too. So
we want to enjoy our holiday, because it would still be a holiday, a time that we're not at home, a time we're not with our children. So we want to still enjoy our holiday and not just be, and we're driving or we're, getting from one location to another and then we're going to another game. Yeah. Yeah,
that would be stressful.
It would.
Because there's always something that goes wrong.
It wouldn't quite feel like you're visiting those areas.
And there's always something goes wrong.
Right.
Some trip like that, you're always going to have something's going to go wrong and it's going to mess up your plans.
What are your expectations for Seattle's first year in the NHL?
They should be competitive. If Ron Francis makes the right moves, they'll likely be in the playoffs that first year, and then fans will have a complete and total meltdown.
Do you think teams come to handshake deals with people pending UFAs to protect other players?
Yes, and it's a smart move in some cases, but it's really risky in others. And so we'll see which ones end up being the really smart moves. But yeah, there will definitely be gentlemen's agreements. And I mean, for the player that's got that gentleman's agreement, he can sit down with Ron Francis when they have rights and say, I'm not going to sign with Seattle. They can just flat out refuse to sign in Seattle if they want. And then Seattle wouldn't take them in the expansion draft because you don't want to pick up a guy that doesn't have any interest in being on your team. But it would have to be decided between the general manager who's exposing that player and the player. And you have to have trust that that player isn't going to be persuaded.
Are we married? Well, I had to be married so that, nobody else would snatch him up because, look at him.
There really wasn't any demand at the time that I met you.
We had to get married.
There was no demand.
So that, tie him down so that he wouldn't just somebody else come along.
There was no demand.
I know, because, look at this. That's nice.
Nope.
That's nice.
Nope.
Yes, we're married.
I was by myself for 2 years, and then nobody had any problem staying away from this till I met you. Nobody had a problem. Wasn't a problem. Nice. It was absolutely not a problem.
It's nice.
So I was pretty sure I was by myself for good at that point. So
hi guys, greets from Cody Galway. Haven't joined you for one of these in a little while. Good to see you're still up and at 'em.
Now I got Galway Girl stuck in my head.
We haven't really had live streams since the season started.
No, not really.
Other than the crazy ones.
Right. And we're gonna have a few crazy ones coming up.
Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be one if the channel reaches 200,000 subscribers. There'll be one. And then We've got the draft, the expansion draft, free agency. Those are all next month. So you're going to enjoy that.
That'd be craziness.
That's going to be a lot of insanity. And it's a good thing I've got like so many boards because I'm probably going to need them all. So including some of the bigger boards.
If you were JD and Yarmo, would you have hired Brad Larson? I wonder how many past/available NHL coaches they interviewed or reached out to.
I honestly wish that more teams would do this. That you cultivate your coaches and you basically develop them from within. I think it's a good call. I think that having an assistant coach that you bring him along and you make him the head coach later. Much like, if you have a coach in the AHL, he's the next in line for the NHL job. I think there's far too much recycling of coaches that goes on in the NHL. And I wish more teams would stop with the recycling and start looking to new voices and new names, because I think that's a really good idea. Luke Richardson, I'm still surprised, has never been a head coach in the NHL. I'm baffled by that one.
If you like it, you better put a ring on it. I know. I had to. Otherwise, be gone.
I would still be living in that apartment if I hadn't met you. I'd still be over a pizza place. I'd still be there.
I don't think you would.
I would still be there.
I don't think so.
By myself, all barricaded up. Although that entire apartment would have been hockey by now. Couch would have been hockey.
Right,
TV would have had hockey stickers all over it. Everything would have been hockey. The Cats would have had little jerseys on them by this point in time, because I would have gone completely crazy.
You would have had no arms left because Shadow would have just shredded them.
So,
but yeah.
He's gentle until you try to wool him around for something, and then he's not quite as pliable, not quite as happy.
I look like Sid the Sloth. Awesome. Well, I've been told worse, so that's not too bad. What do you hope the schedule will look like next year? I'm weird and don't want to go back to the 1 versus 8. Also agree with you on the shootout.
They're not going to go back to 1 versus 8. They're going to go back to the same system that we had before this, where it's the top 3 teams in each division make it, and then you have the 2 wildcard spots. It's going to be the same as it was before. Arizona moves to the Central. Seattle takes over in the Pacific. And the schedule is going to be, it looks like it's 4 against your division, 3 against the other division in your conference, and 2 against the other conference. Some version of that is how the schedule is going to work out. So we've had this really cool year where it's like the NHL could reinvent things, and they went, no, we're going to go back to exactly how things were before. So, which sadly is kind of predictable.
We have 4 cats. They have their own Instagram.
They do. THG Cats.
So, yes. And the bunnies are on there too.
Yes, because the bunnies deserve to be on there.
They're adorable.
They're fantastic.
There might be a lot of bunny pictures on the cat's Instagram.
Have you got any pictures of Pickle doing the jump?
No, his spazzy jump.
So bunnies hop like this, not our little brown one. He hops sideways.
It reminds me of
he kicks his legs out.
Cows. So calves, when they get all excited and they kind of kick their legs over, that's what he does. And it's so funny.
His legs just go in whatever direction. And he looks special. He just like, wow, that's an interesting little bunny hop you got going.
Why do you hate the Avs so much? You hate the Avs?
Well,
why didn't you tell me?
Clearly. That's why I picked them to win the cup this year.
But why do you
hate them all the way through the season? Because
why didn't I know that you hate them?
Haven't you heard me yell?
What other teams
didn't you see
hate?
I burned a stuffy in effigy. Didn't you see? I had a little Avalanche logo on it. I don't hate the Avs.
No.
There's no teams that I hate and detest. I don't get angry watching hockey games. If somebody's here and they're upstairs, they wouldn't even know I was watching a hockey game.
Whatever.
Doesn't even matter who's playing.
Whatever.
Unless Boston wins the game.
He talks to the hockey game, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I just mean like you don't hear cheering.
What are you doing? No.
You don't hear cheering and screaming at the TV like, bunch of idiots.
No, but sometimes you do talk to them and ask them what they're doing.
Only when a player does something really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or where are you passing that?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which team it is either.
Right.
I just like, where's that pass going? That's interesting. Where's the goalie going? Why don't get back in the net?
Yeah. Why are you over there?
Especially Tuukka.
Yes. Who do you think was the biggest underperformed team based on expectations?
Well, it'd be Colorado in the postseason. In the regular season, see, I can't say Calgary because Flames fans get upset, but I had expected more out of Calgary than what we saw this year. Dallas had injury problems, but I don't know if they would have made the playoffs without the injuries. I think Columbus underperformed, and I think a lot of that had to do with just the lingering issues going on in that locker room, and we'll see whether or not they fix them in the offseason. But I think Columbus, even if I didn't expect them in the playoffs, I'd expect them to be better than that.
Has the Queen or any of the royal family been to an NHL game?
No, but they still have her image in all Canadian arenas, don't they?
I have no idea.
Don't they still have like an image of the Queen?
Surprised. I would guess.
I'm pretty sure they do. I know they used to.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Pretty sure they still do.
Hello, Hecka.
Hecka's on there?
I know. I haven't seen Hecka
It's been ages
for a while.
since we saw Hecka.
I saw him for a moment on the Discord. Is that like a week ago?
Was that just so he could send you some weird Eurovision stuff? Because Eurovision just wrapped up, so
I haven't had any Hecka.
There's got to be some kind of weird Eurovision.
What's up with that?
Techno metal Guar wannabes that are still.
I like not Guar. They're great. Is all of Canada rooting for Montreal?
No.
Nah, I'd say a large portion
you would
of
think
it, though.
You would think so, but no, not really.
There's a lot of people that just don't like Montreal.
Yeah, it's the same as when Vancouver was in the finals in 2011. Canada was not cheering for the Canucks. Large parts of Canada were cheering for anybody to beat the Canucks, and then when they were against Boston, they're like, oh, "Now what? We don't like them either." How does this work? We hate them both.
Teams?
Can we vote no? Just no cup. So yeah, Canadian team makes the final. You would think Canada would rally around it. It would depend on the team. Like if Toronto had gone to the final, there's no way that people would be rallying for Toronto.
Yeah,
there would be a lot of people cheering on Toronto, but there would be a vocal portion. I don't even know if it's a minority, but there'd be a vocal portion of fans in Canada that wouldn't want to see it.
No, I think it'd be a minority.
I would love to see a Canadian team. I don't even care if it's Montreal. I'd love to see a Canadian team win the cup just so that's over.
Do you think Buffalo is better to trade Eichel and reset or not? Do you think a few quality players in Buffalo's case is better than one superstar?
It's clear at this point that Eichel's very likely to get moved. If they're going to follow another team's template, look at the Islanders. They aren't a superstar-laden team. They're built really solid, all four lines, all six defensemen, and two goaltenders. And try to go after that. So, yeah, instead of having that one big-name superstar, just build out your roster, fill out your roster, and make smart moves. And Adams will have a chance to show whether or not he knows what he's doing over the next year or two.
Flyers fan from England. Why the Phantoms jersey?
Because I haven't worn this in a video. I haven't worn this on a live stream, and I thought, yeah, I haven't worn that, so I should. There's a lot of AHL jerseys I haven't worn yet.
It's true.
Yep.
Thoughts on Vegas's chance? Also, I just checked online too. She went 2-1 before she was queen, and another in 2002. Canucks won, in fact.
That's too bad she got to watch them lose.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me. Vegas has a very good chance. I mean, obviously, Vegas and Tampa are the favorites to end up in the Stanley Cup final against each other. And if anybody can stop Tampa, Vegas is as good a bet as anybody. I'm still most impressed right now with Tampa and how they're playing. But yeah, I mean, Vegas has a chance.
Both the Leaf and Habs have fans across the country, though. Well,
yes.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, you go to a Canucks game in Vancouver
and it's hard to
against
hear
Toronto, and yeah, Toronto fans are loud. And the worse the Canucks are, the more opposing teams' jerseys you see for all of their games. It's interesting how everybody, I'm going to grab my New Jersey Devils jersey because they're playing New Jersey tonight. So you see more of the opposing jerseys when the team's not very good, which they've been not very good for a lot of the last half decade / almost the entire decade.
What should expectations for the Habs fans after another surprising playoff run with Tampa, Boston, etc. coming back into the division? Don't really have hope for next year. Just enjoying the ride.
Enjoy the ride. I did the same thing last year with Dallas. I knew that for Dallas, it was lightning in a bottle. I did not see them getting back to the Stanley Cup final the year after. Just enjoy the ride. I think they'll be in the mix for a playoff spot next year. I don't know how well they'll do. Caulfield, if he can provide enough goals, if Carey Price can play in the regular season the way he's playing in the postseason, they have a chance.
If the Canes can't re-sign Rod, do you think the room starts to check out?
No. Players are pretty professional. I do think, though, that they'll get that done. I'd be very surprised if Carolina doesn't want to get that done. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't want to come back. So I would think that while lame duck coaches are seen as this really horrible thing by fans, I don't know that it's as important to the coaches necessarily, because we look at Travis Green and they waited till the very last minute and they kept him. So as long as Rod wants to stay in Carolina, it gets done.
Assuming the border opens up, is there a particular Seattle Kraken game that you're aiming to attend?
Boston. Seattle versus Boston. I think it'd be great if I could go to Seattle versus Boston and Vancouver versus Boston. But I'll bet you Seattle versus Boston would be cheaper than Vancouver versus Boston.
Yeah. It will be kind of tricky for us to be able to get down to Seattle games.
Well, for you, but I mean, I'm a big deal. So I can just basically I can hitchhike,
That'd be a long way to hitchhike.
Not as long as I got hockey tickets.
It would take forever to get home.
Clayton would drive me down there.
Nah.
He'd be like, cool, Boston, Seattle, let's go.
As a Whalers fan, no Carolina, I appreciate that you wear the Whalers jersey. Do you have a Binghamton Whaler? Binghamton jersey. I know. Because so I can only kind of half see words. I have to really try and focus. And so I kind of guess words.
The librarian glasses aren't just for the look. They're for the eyes too.
I don't have the best.
I don't actually have a Binghamton jersey. And I wanted to get a Binghamton Devils jersey when they were moving their team over to Utica, and I missed it. I didn't get a Binghamton Devils jersey either. So I don't have Binghamton. They had the Rangers in Binghamton at one point too. So there's a lot of Binghamton jerseys I've wanted that I never got. So someday.
That definitely applies to the Devils being the way they are when they play the Rangers. You'd think it was MSG 2.0. It's a bit disheartening.
It can be tough. It can be tough.
Leaf games especially, it drowns out the Canuck fans.
Yeah.
Habs are another one.
Oh, Habs are, It gets pretty boisterous for the Habs. You would think they were playing in Montreal.
Yes. Will next season be normal division next year, and odds of the NHL playing games in the UK again?
I know that they're going to play. I think there's games in Sweden they're playing this coming year. Again, all provisional on borders all being open, everything being done right. And everybody's back into the regular divisions next year. It's supposed to be an 82-game schedule, and everything should be pretty much back to normal next season. Right?
Yes. Habs or Vegas?
Vegas probably wins the series. I think Montreal is going to be a tougher out than some people are giving them credit for, but Vegas doesn't really have a major weakness, and I don't think they're going to be high scoring games. I think they're going to be tight checking games, low scoring, but I think Vegas outlasts them.
Did you see what happened in today's soccer game between Denmark and Finland?
Yep. Christian Ericsson. And I mentioned this earlier. I'm really surprised they finished the game, because there's no way that the Danish players were 100% with that game after what they just saw happen to one of their best players.
My wife just walked in and said, I love her hair. Is it new? No, I've been dyeing my hair like this for several years. What are you doing?
Well, I'm looking to see if they're extensions, because if it's new, they'd be extensions, right?
What? No, weirdo. Okay, stop it.
What?
Hands to yourself.
The only way you can tell it's extensions is by taste. So.
What?
You
better not be tasting my hair.
You fall asleep before I do, sweetie.
Gross. Oh, okay. Anyways.
Get the munchies.
You're such a weirdo.
I don't want to get out of bed. So, you know.
Okay, anyways, moving on.
Anyhow.
Don't start that.
I didn't start that crap. You started it. What? Hi.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Continuing on.
All right.
How do you think Elias Anderson played at the end of the season with Velarde? Can he still be a good top 6 forward?
I think for Anderson, I think he probably ends up being third line. I don't know that I see the top 6 potential. If anybody can drag him there, though, it might be Velarde. I think Velarde had a rough year. He had a decent start. He had a decent finish. I'm really hoping that he gets it together. Anderson, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. Of course, my question with LA is how many more Andersons are they going to add? Because they got Anderson, Dolan, Anderson, and Anderson. So they need at least one more Anderson.
When will we do a meetup again?
We're starting, the plan is to start them locally towards the end of July. That's the plan. And then they'll probably be weekly or every other week after that. Because I've been doing a lot of jogging, so.
He wants to show off his legs.
No. I just, not being winded and sore is kind of nice.
His
So,
legs.
You know, that's sort of a.
They're nice.
Okay, that's.
I know I've mentioned it before, though.
No,
his legs are nice.
Mentioned it before.
Okay. I feel like the NHL going back to the old system in divisions is a giant mistake. Also, don't know why they do the NFL 4 of 4 in each conference.
Well, I think it's the easiest system. It's one that gives most teams the appearance of being in a playoff hunt. It's kind of false. Like you look at how early in the season, if you get off to a good start, you're probably going to make the playoffs. If you get off to a bad start, you're probably going to miss. Because of the 3-point games and the way that it's set up, it definitely makes it look like teams are closer to the playoffs than they actually are. And the system they have keeps that going. So I think that's why they're going to keep it the way that it is.
Do you ever get asked to appear on podcasts?
A lot.
All the time.
A lot. And I've had to not do it because I know that if for me it's always an all or nothing. So it's like the whole advertising on the channel. I don't allow advertising on the channel either because it has to either be all of them or none of them. So that's just how I see it. And yeah, it becomes kind of a lot. So
we do get emails.
It's a lot, yeah.
I'd say at least every other day, sometimes several in a day. Yeah. It's a lot. A lot.
I don't even do my own podcast often enough. So
No. Speaking Anderson wise, should they acquire Joey Anderson and not only add another Anderson, but reunite him with his brother, Mikey Anderson?
I was really surprised Joey wasn't utilized by Toronto. I thought Joey was good last year in New Jersey. If he's available, I think the Kings should add him. I think he can be a decent bottom 6 guy, and then you can play him with his brother. I think that would only benefit the team and the Andersons.
I'm not ignoring Habs questions. Okay. What do Blues and Flyers do next season? And was Hart season this year a fluke?
Hart will be fine next year. The Blues and the Flyers are both in a similar spot, though different. The Flyers are up and down. For St. Louis, they had that incredible run in 2019. They won the Stanley Cup. The question becomes, how do you get back to that? Was this year's failure, losing in 4 in a row, was it just related to injuries? How much did they miss Pietrangelo? Do they need to maybe do a small retool on the blue line? And with Philly, I think the blue line kind of fell apart without Niskanen. And some guys just didn't have great years. Nolan Patrick didn't get hurt at all this year. He played almost every game. I believe it was 53 out of 56 that he played. But the scoring's not there. So now the problem you have is not that he's injured, it's that he just wasn't that good this year. So there's definitely some room to improve that roster.
Show us your rarest jersey / hockey item. Oh. What's your rarest jersey?
My rarest jersey?
He has to think about it for a moment.
Well, it would have to be one that you can't find anymore. So it can't be that. Well, I was going to say the Arizona. the Arizona, the green Space Coyote, but I still see that one.
Yeah. It could be one of the away jerseys that you can't find anymore.
This one. Because when I ordered this one, it's actually numbered. The number is, where is it?
Somewhere.
Yeah, remember it's numbered. Yeah, right here. This is number 61 out of 115 jerseys. They only made 115 of these. This is the Newfoundland Growlers. So, yeah, as soon as I saw this, I ordered it. And it wasn't insanely expensive either. It was the regular price. Just they only made 115 of these jerseys. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get that. And there were other people like, I think it's ugly. I'm like, good, get out of my way. I'm picking one up. Everybody shut up and let me buy it. I think that's ugly. Good, fine. You're not allowed to have one then. Just shut up and get to the back of the line. So, yeah, this is probably my rarest of the hockey jerseys.
How much would you bring back Edler for?
I'll say like 2.5-3 million. And I say that because he should be third pairing. He shouldn't be on the top two pairings anymore at this point.
Do you have a regular day job? Have
Ta-da!
you seen how many videos he posts every day?
This is my job.
Another job would not be possible.
Nope.
Well, it wouldn't be possible to work a job outside of the home or even in the home and do the number of videos that he does. It's not
what do
possible.
You want? No, see,
Keep up the great work, buddy.
Thank you. I shouldn't have to pick you up a million times a day.
Do you have the Burger King jersey?
Yes. Yep. I was very happy to get that one. That was sent to me by a subscriber.
Didn't Randall send that?
Randall sent that one, yeah.
I thought so. Any chance we see the Nordiques or Whalers again? Who's the next city to get an expansion team?
If an expansion team came in, it would probably be Houston. I don't think we see the Nordiques or the Whalers again. Quebec had a chance to bid when they were bringing in Vegas, and they dropped out of it. Canadian dollars, highly irregular. It's hard to guarantee you're going to make that money back. And from an NHL perspective, I think they would go to Houston first. The only way Quebec gets a team is if a team ends up suddenly homeless like Atlanta did and they ended up in Winnipeg. You have a building in Quebec that's built for NHL that can house an NHL team, and that's the only way that you're going to get a team back would be relocation.
What team was hurt the most in the postseason by the stoppage, and how long could it take for Vegas to fall out of the playoffs, and could it take longer for a rebuild?
Any teams that were already losing money, the lockdown and the stoppage would hurt them more. I would think for Florida and Arizona, it'd be really difficult, especially with Alex Mariuelo. You're shedding so much, Katie. With Alex Mariuelo wanting to get some kind of a
For my nose. Yeah, what in the world?
But with Alex Mariuelo wanting to turn a profit, I would imagine this year's been an absolute nightmare for him. They rebranded the casino too, turned it back into the Sahara. So I would think that it's been toughest on the teams that were already having trouble with money. For the other teams, you can absorb it. For Toronto, Rangers, Vancouver, Montreal, you can absorb the losses.
Yeah, that's Bear.
What?
That one's
you're
Shadow.
shedding, sweetie.
We have other kitties. They're on the cat Instagram.
Why is she shedding in June?
Because it's starting to think about get warm. So
no, I'm not picking up, sweetie.
Talking about the postseason wise was hurt or postseason
wise.
I think there's a word missing.
Their cup chances by stopping last year
was hurt in the cup chances by stoppage last year. I'm guessing which team was hurt.
There's a lot of teams that had a good regular season and then couldn't carry it over. I don't think it helped Philly. Philly had a great regular season last year, and then after the pause, it just wasn't the same. Didn't seem to help Boston. Boston was the best team in the league, and then they just never quite got into it. And in the bubble, Washington was downright terrible for basically the time they were in the bubble. So there were some teams that had a hard time, but Washington this year in the playoffs wasn't that good either. So I think there's an intensity problem with the Caps. There's a competitive problem with Washington right now.
Can't show the bunnies right now. They're outside.
Yeah.
So can't just grab them like the kitties.
Right.
Who's the worst mask wearing coach? Some of them are really bad. They take their mask off so they
DeBoer.
can yell better.
Vegas, Peter DeBoer.
Oh my gosh. He's bad.
I think it's DeBoer. During the regular season, I would have gone with DJ Smith in Ottawa, but yeah, I'd go with DeBoer.
What's your opinion on the return of the USFL?
It's a crowded arena that they're entering because the XFL is planning on coming back next year as well. So it'd be the XFL, the USFL, the NFL, the CFL, because the CFL is looking at having a partnership with the XFL. It's not going to work. I really don't see another league being able to work. Football, it's tough. The USFL was really fun football in the 80s. I loved it. But was it as good as the NFL? Probably not. It was more fun, but basically when that league shut down, it's not like a ton of those players ended up having great careers in the NFL.
Empty arenas feel so emotionless. We need all the fans back in every arena. Should be able to next season.
Next season, it'll be full arenas everywhere. And they're talking about adding some more for Montreal for the next couple of games, for games 3 and 4.
When will the Vegas core need rebuilt?
For Vegas, I would think they have at least 3 more years before they have anything to worry about. It's not like Stone's old or Pacioretty's necessarily old. They've got enough guys in their prime that they can hold it off for a few more years. And even when Fleury's gone, whenever that does happen, I like Leonard. They play well in front of Leonard. I know Leonard's numbers aren't as good as Fleury's, but win-loss wise, he's right there with them.
Most important player on the Lightning?
It is hard to go against Hedman, but I think the playoffs have shown just how good Kucherov can be. And then there's Vasilevsky, who's not bad as a goaltender either. Does
Seattle take a second rounder to not take Allen from Montreal?
I don't think the Habs are worried about losing Jake Allen. They picked up Jake Allen in part because that meets their exposure requirements for the expansion draft. I think Allen ends up in Seattle, and I think Montreal then takes that $4 million they're saving on that contract, and they either use it to invest in another goaltender or use it somewhere else. I don't think Montreal's overly concerned. Caden Primo could end up being the backup next year.
My fiance got me a cameo from you for our anniversary, and I just wanted to say I appreciate the kind words, and it looks like the borders are reopening soon, so we can see each other again finally.
Yes. And the cameos have been fun. I haven't talked about it on the channel. The cameos have been fun. I've tried to do something different with them. I try to make sure they're at least 2.5, 3 minutes. I want to make sure that, and I know some cameos are really short, like some of the other cameo people are short. And I've seen too where they'll record 5 or 6 all back to back to back. You can tell because they're wearing the same shirt. Yeah. And it's the same background. So I try to make sure I wear a different jersey for each cameo. So somebody tells me he cheers for this team, I'll wear that jersey. And it's just, that kind of thing. Or if they want to see the cats, I make sure I'm facing it. So the cat tree is in the background, or usually it's that the jerseys are in the background, that kind of thing.
Is Dubois the next Drouin?
Dubois, it's weird. I agree with, and Ken Reed said this on Sportsnet. I thought they were going to come out and say Dubois was fighting an injury during the playoffs, and he wasn't. I generally don't know what to think of Dubois at this point. I would be very surprised if he stays in Winnipeg long term. He did not play well on any level. He just didn't play well this year. And it started in Columbus, and he had some good times with Winnipeg. He'd have like 5 or 6 good games here and there, but it's just not there. I don't see a number 1 center with Dubois. So that's what they traded Laine and Roslovic for, and it turns out Roslovic's probably the best player of the 3, at least right now.
Love you. A network needs to pick you up. I think the Flyers will do anything big. I vote no to a network.
I vote no on the network thing.
Picking up Shannon.
The Flyers are usually in the market for something big. The Flyers are usually in the market for something big. I honestly think that with Elliott likely leaving, they need to fix their other goaltenders. So Carter Hart should have a bounce back next year, but you need to have the right veteran goaltender with him. So whether you're picking up somebody from Seattle that they end up drafting that they don't want to keep, or you go to a team that after the expansion draft has two goaltenders and one they're not necessarily as connected to as the other, they have to make that work. You shouldn't be in a situation where Hart feels like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders yet. It's sort of like with Ottinger in Dallas, Swayman in Boston, two of my favorite teams. You have to make sure that you've got the other goaltender there to shepherd them along. And I don't think Hart necessarily had that this year with Philly. And, I'm not trying to insult anybody. It felt like they needed more help there.
When will we see Kraken jerseys?
I think from the team store, it'll be August is what I've heard. And September on a retail level on all the other websites is what I've heard. I know they've said that they'll have the jerseys available right after the expansion draft. The expansion draft's July 21st. So it's possible that maybe the last week of July we'll see them, but I've heard it's probably August.
Who's your favorite to win the Conn Smythe right now?
Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky or Fleury. The two goalies are I would think the favorites would be the favorites right now.
Will the Rangers make the playoffs next year?
They'll be in the mix. I kind of hope they do because I like the Rangers now. It's this weird, bizarre place that I live in where I don't mind the Rangers. I've even told my wife on occasion, I think I'm cheering for the Rangers. This is really weird. But I do. I like them. I got that stadium jersey because I think it's gorgeous. She didn't like it as much, but I thought it was really nice.
I
think it's different. It's different.
It's different.
Do you like it better than the normal Rangers jerseys or
no?
She doesn't like word marks. I'm not a huge fan of word marks either, though.
I don't like those logos either.
The smooth logos.
I don't like them. I don't like how they look.
Well, I'm not going to wear them very often because those are the last jerseys on planet Earth in my size. So I didn't have a choice but to get them.
My daughters would like to know what you think of women's hockey and how can it rise in prominence.
Women's hockey is fine. Women's hockey it's enjoyable. I think women's hockey has to be an entity on its own. I think it's going to have growth. It's not going to be overnight. There's going to be frustration with the lack of attention it gets at different points. But I really think that you have to get the Professional Women's Union and the NWHL to sit down and figure this out first. You can't have two different entities fighting over the same audience that's already not big enough. And then you have to present star players. You have to get your marketing going. And yeah, you have to find a non-traditional way to market it and to make it work. And I think as long as they look for a brand new way to promote the league and to make it work, it'll be fine. If they try to promote themselves as, well, we're exactly like the NHL, but we're women, that's where there's going to be a problem. They have to promote themselves as a brand new product and appeal to an audience that way and, win people over in that manner.
Hey, Shannon, who do you think Seattle's going to take from Tampa? I feel like it's going to be Ryan McDonough and not Johnson. Love your videos. Go Bolts.
I think they'll throw in a draft pick, so it's Johnson. I think Seattle will be okay with taking Johnson as long as they get a draft pick as well. And Tampa's not shy about giving up draft picks at this point. And Johnson has, a local tie to Seattle. So I think that works. I think on the blue line, they'll have a lot of options. I'm not sure. With McDonough, they might take him, but again, I think that Tampa Bay will throw in a sweetener, so they take Johnson.
Pop-Tarts are indeed good. If you like sweet cardboard.
Nothing wrong with sweet cardboard.
Yeah. If you're a fan of cardboard, then you'll like Pop-Tarts. So.
Cardboard's really good.
No.
I'm going to bring Pixel in here, and she'll tell you cardboard's fantastic.
She does like cardboard. I've contacted the Labor Relations Board on behalf of my clients, Yvonne and Katz, regards to being paid below minimum wage and a poor benefit package. Hi, Shannon. My contribution to the Yvonne Needs a Raise Fund. Hey.
Well, see, I had a discussion with her last night about the amount of work being done and how there's some disconnect between the work being done and the work that's expected to be done. And
he thinks he's funny. He really does have these conversations.
Some
with
tasks
himself.
that aren't quite where you want them to be, and you don't want to complain, but so it's hard to justify a raise when that's the case. So, there's that.
Okay. Anyways, your thoughts on Joel Farabee? Do you see him as a key player for the Flyers' future success? Would you put it there?
Farabee's very good. Farabee, the one thing with Farabee is its consistency. So he had a great start to the season. He had a great finish. If he can find that consistency and he's young enough to be able to do that, I think he's going to be fantastic.
With weak draft class chances, Guerin. Okay. Packages one or both of his first round picks with another player for a legit number one center. Shutters, maybe Kokkonen.
Yeah, legit number one centers aren't normally available. So unless he were to try to get Eichel, which is crazy, but sure, it's Guerin. He may take a shot at it. I really think that the most likely situation for them is going to be picking up a couple of like number 2/number 3 level centers. I don't think he's going to be all that gung-ho about trading draft picks. It's a bit, this year's draft class, I see it more as unpredictable than weak. So they may very well be able to get a pretty good player there. Maybe they work something out at the draft table, but I don't think that Minnesota needs to do a lot. So I don't think he's going to necessarily go all in to try to get a number one center because there's not very many of those that would even be available.
Would you take a job with Sportsnet or TSN if it means stop making YouTube videos?
No. There's zero chance of that happening. Absolutely zero.
Okay, where am I?
You got it.
Does Cedric Paquette come back to Tampa next year?
If they can find the cap space, more than likely. It didn't work out for him in Ottawa. It was a muddled mix of results for him with Carolina. I think Paquette probably ends up back in Tampa. Again, if they have the cap space to make that work.
Dubois to Arizona Coyotes.
It wouldn't be the weirdest thing to see Arizona making a move to upgrade at center. The problem is he has trouble scoring, and Arizona has trouble scoring, so I'm not sure how you make that work, because Winnipeg also would want a center back in return, so I'm not sure which center you'd give up to get Dubois.
Do the Flames bounce back next season?
They should, but again, I thought they were going to be a playoff team this year, so I have no idea what's going on, why Calgary has as many problems as they do.
Steve Dangle still has his YouTube channel and he works for Sportsnet. He does a lot less videos though.
Yeah, and once the Leafs season's over, he basically
one
stops.
Team. Yeah, so comparing Shannon and Steve, they're totally different. Other than talking about hockey, they are completely different.
And he lives in Toronto.
Yes,
and I don't live anywhere near Toronto.
No.
So I'm not moving to
all of Canada
Toronto.
Is not Toronto.
What? No, you're all.
Do
you're
the Flames bounce back next season?
Yeah, you already asked me that.
Oh, I sure did. I didn't. That's not what I was
going out here because you're shedding.
Okay, who's your favorite player on the Hurricanes? Who do you think Seattle will pick from Carolina?
My favorite player currently on Carolina. It's hard to go against Nedeljkovic, but it's Slavin. Slavin's the one, and if Jake Bean's not protected, I would think that Jake Bean's probably on his way to Seattle.
Thoughts on Burrow's coaching career?
I'm disappointed that Burrow's coaching career isn't unfolding in Vancouver, but it is one reason for me to wish him the best in Montreal. I genuinely have zero problem with the player. We were there the night that he played his last game in Vancouver as a member of the Senators. As a really nice ovation that he got from the crowd. I wish him the best. I think he's a smart pick for an assistant coach too.
A lot of people are talking about pizza on here.
No, I can't put you higher because you're shedding hair all over the place.
Oh, I saw a stream on YouTube. They activated slow mode in the chat, so it's possible. You have to go through
with the software.
Yeah, you have to go through
have to have the software.
External thing, and it's a pain. And
the software, we tried setting it up once, and no. Yeah, because we couldn't get the audio to sync up with the video, so it just didn't work.
I understand who wants to live in Toronto. Well, yeah, wouldn't
We'd have to
wanna
move across the country.
Across country with our kids.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And then
Pass.
inevitably, when Sportsnet says, "Well, we're cutting back here and we don't watch anymore," then what? I just move back to BC. No.
Do a video about the Domino's new delivery cars.
Those are the self-driving cars. Those are the ones they have in the States.
I was going to say,
we don't have them
they
here.
don't have them in Canada, do they?
I don't think so. No.
So.
I had Domino's pizza once, and I didn't like it. I thought it was gross.
Was it as bad as Pizza Hut, though? Because
no, Pizza Hut's not bad. Pizza Hut's just greasy.
Really,
Pizza Hut, you can take a towel and just towel the pizza off.
Do you guys hate the Vegas golden helmets as much as I do? Those helmets are something.
They look so weird,
aren't they?
They never wore them with the gold jerseys.
Right? The only jersey that it would look halfway decent with, they'd still look silly. But they look halfway decent? Nah. They're
I don't understand. It's so simple.
No trash talking Pizza Hut, but they're gross.
Pizza Hut, I like Pizza Hut, but I'm serious. I've taken serviettes
so
and
gross.
Had to towel off the grease
ew.
on top of the pizza.
Pizza Hut's gross. I don't know.
Because my body doesn't like that amount of grease. It just no.
How do you avoid burnout? Oh, Shannon. Yeah. Shannon doesn't know how to turn his brain off. So that's it's a tricky balance. And if he slows down at all, then he'll just stress about all the things he's not doing.
Right.
So
like last night.
It's a tricky
like last night. Last
Shannon.
night I spent organizing all my boards and organizing parts of the room and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this and this and this. And eventually my brain shuts down. So sometimes it's easier for me to just do videos and then go to bed. Sometimes it's just easier for me to do it that way. Because when I'm not making videos and I have an evening here to myself in this room, I'm like, okay, so I want to move this over here and this over here and that over there and that. And it's a lot of work. Yep. So I'll get it done. But my brain doesn't shut off. There's no burnout because that's how I'm wired. That's how it works.
Tom Wilson scores 30 goals next year. If not, I'll throw in $100 on your live feed.
Wilson is underrated as a goal scorer. The potential is there for him to get 30. I would think he's an automatic for 20 or 25. It would not surprise me if he hits 30. I'm hoping that as Wilson gets older, that he really cleans it up to where the kind of incidents we saw, like the one against the Rangers, we won't see that anymore from him. And there'll be more focus on not being the focus of attention. Because Wilson's one of the best power forwards in the game. When Wilson's playing clean, I love the guy's game. But then he does something like the Carlo hit or other, and it's like, okay, whoops. So that's the only thing. And some players learn and they get better and they don't do that kind of stuff when they're older, and some never learn. So it's going to be on him, and I think he will learn it.
How's the pizza in Vancouver? I don't think I've ever had pizza in Vancouver.
No, we've never gone for pizza in Vancouver.
So, I don't know.
We've gone in Coquitlam a few times because we went to Boston Pizza after meetups.
Yeah,
but that's just
Boston
Pizza. That's a chain. So
that's different. Yeah, I don't think we've ever done
not a chain one, no.
Pizza in Vancouver.
We did chain pizza in Vegas. California pizza.
Oh yeah, we didn't have pizza there.
I did.
Did you?
You didn't.
No.
Coward.
No.
Didn't you have like a tortilla or
how's
something?
How's the poutine in Vancouver? Have we had poutine in Vancouver? I mean, I'm sure it's good.
Not that I know.
We don't really eat in Vancouver.
Because we don't eat before or after we go to a game. We just want to get out of the city as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we don't really eat in Vancouver.
We try to get there early for the game, and we don't dilly-dally when we're in Vancouver, and then we just try to get out as quickly as we can.
Yeah, we don't really. So, if you ask us about restaurants in Vancouver, I don't
know. Mike would know restaurants in Vancouver.
There you go. You did a video and Bear was missing. The video paused and Bear suddenly appeared. What did Bear do this time?
She was squawking off camera. She was in the room. She was in the room crying.
Dad,
because she wakes up and she can't find me.
I need you to carry me to the room.
So I called her and she just kept meowing, and I'm like, no, just come in here. So finally she came in here, and then she's at my feet. So I just put her on the tree, and then I unpaused the video. I'm like, all right, so she's on the tree now. She'll shut up.
Spoiled toddler princess.
She's my baby.
Yeah, she wakes up and Shannon's not there, so then she cries. I missed a super chat.
What?
Okay, hold on. I'll try and find it.
What? Yeah, no, we're talking about you, sweetie. She's always at my feet.
I will try to find it. There's that one. People talking about pizza. Oh, have you seen the leaked Carolina Hurricanes jersey?
Yes, that's the stadium jersey for the game that we're going to see how the NHL schedule plans out and how that goes. It was kind of monochromatic. Like I'm not a fan of the one color jerseys. Like Pittsburgh did it, Philly did it. I was really hoping with stadium they'd go for something a little more, fun. It's kind of. My reaction to it was kind of meh. So we'll see what happens when that's officially revealed. But yeah, hi. Yeah, we were talking about you, sweetie. You cry when daddy's not there in the room, which is sad because you're a cat. Cats are supposed to be very not clingy like a dog.
She is the neediest cat ever. She is ridiculous.
She's not needy. Look at her.
Yeah. No, we can't get the bunny right now. They're in the backyard.
She's not needy.
She is so needy.
Look how not needy
gosh,
she is.
She's a toddler.
She's not needy.
She is. And
then
she
if I
will
bounce her, she
meow
goes to
and
sleep.
meow. Right. Meow and meow and meow. Yeah. I'm all by myself.
I have to
Been
rock
left
her.
alone. If Shannon
I have to
comes
rock her to sleep.
upstairs, I'm by myself. Huh. When you could come upstairs, because it's not like our house is ever empty. No. Huh. Somebody said she looked angry. That's her markings.
She always looks angry.
She always looks angry.
She always looks
She's
angry.
not. We'll see for Yvonne. Who's the most handsome NHL player? For me, it's definitely Dubois. I'm not one of those girls. I really don't have an opinion on most handsome. No, it's not really my thing.
Is mommy saying mean things about you?
I'm not.
Is she?
Look how ridiculous she is.
She's not ridiculous.
It is.
He's not ridiculous.
She is the most spoiled cat.
She's not spoiled.
Okay, can anybody see this and not think?
She's not spoiled. She's a good cat.
Yeah. Mind you, she just woke up in another room and started crying because she was by herself. She's not going to be happy when we start leaving the house. She hasn't had a time where there's been nobody in the house.
For a year and a half.
For a year and a half. It's going to be a shock for her.
Yeah.
You'll have to set up the camera so you can talk to
Bob.
her.
I'll have to set up Bob.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And you can put the Alexa by it so you can talk through it. Oh my goodness. Okay.
So we can just set up Bob. We can just put Bob in our room, and then I can just talk through Bob here.
Yeah.
And she'll be fine.
Yeah. She won't know the difference.
Nope, she won't have
You're
any
totally
idea.
the same.
Nope.
Okay. What the NHL needs to do is put out a better hockey video game. Haha. NHL 21 is pretty much completely dead. Roster updates, but no new innovation. Every EA NHL game lasts like 4 months, if that.
I have no intention of buying next year's NHL game. None. I barely touched. The only reason that this year's was played was because of the league being shut down and we were doing live streams. So we did the one live stream like this, and then we do the live stream with the NHL 21. But I have not touched it in months, and I don't really have any interest in it, which is weird because I was obsessed with the old ones like NHL 06, NHL 2004. Loved those games. And now it's just sort of blah. It just doesn't feel like they've changed enough things to make it worthwhile. So I have no intention of buying next year's game.
Yvonne, you're not the kind of girl who thinks guys are handsome. Explain why you married Shannon. I know.
That's what it is. Because I'm not handsome. So since I'm not handsome, it works for her. Because she's like, I don't like handsome guys, so you'll do. So that was what she told me on our first date.
That's not true at all.
You told me, you said, I don't like handsome
Shannon's
men.
super handsome. I mean, look at this.
I said, I don't like handsome guys.
He's so cute.
I don't like real men. So
but I don't like look at guys and be like, oh, hey, look at him. It's not.
I don't do that with guys
either. I was not one of those girls in high school that had pictures of boys on my wall.
Well, except Jensen Ackles, but I mean, it's Dean from Supernatural, so what's not to love?
No, pass. I had a Tool poster. Does that count?
Did it have the wrench on it?
No.
Okay, so it doesn't count.
No, I had the hoodie. No, it was the one with the, you can kind of tell what it is, where it's, you don't know which side is right side up, and there's the person and the reflection.
Yeah.
Well, person. I don't know. Yeah,
it's one of those painting things. One of those painty.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that. My mom hated it.
Well, of course.
She hated all my music, though.
Well, yeah.
I listened to it very quietly.
I hate all your music, too.
Hated my music.
Just pretend.
No. That's not true.
I don't even like Rammstein. I just pretend I do.
Whatever.
Okay, I love Rammstein.
Yes. Have you heard of Franchise Hockey Manager on PC? I think you would like it.
I have, and I've got it on my computer. I've got it on my Steam account. I haven't gone through that one only because I haven't had the time. If I'm on the computer, then I'm like, hey, I could do a video right now. So that's the issue I have with that.
Are you guys planning to go to Slipknot or Tool concerts when they resume?
Oh, yes to both.
We have
two sets of tickets for Rammstein's concerts next September in LA.
Yeah.
So we're going to both concerts, back-to-back days.
Yes.
And yeah, we would love to see Slipknot, and we'd love to see.
I really hope so. We had tickets to the Tool concert last May, and I was so excited because I haven't been to Tool in forever.
I've never seen Tool in concert,
which is sad for him.
But you've never seen Slipknot or Rammstein,
right? I've seen Tool several times.
I've seen Rammstein twice.
So I'm really hoping that they will make a new tour and they'll come this way. So that would be great. Okay. I thought that the doctor talked to Yvonne about certain things. Time to go back to the doctor again.
Well, and mom's really uncomfortable with some of the things.
You can just shut it. This is Hockey Guy.
That's me.
There you go.
All right, I'll be right back. Just a sec.
THG has a Steam account.
Yes.
Not that he ever has time.
That's true.
What's his favorite Rammstein song? I was going to say it's probably Deutschland right now, but it changes. He also really likes Mein Teil. Yeah. Okay. What do I listen to? Death metal. I don't listen to death metal. I don't like the screaming. I do listen to metal, though. I'm very picky about my music, unlike Shannon, who has a much broader listening to genres. Yeah, I listen to metal mostly. So
that's the right answer, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Deutschland?
See, I was right. What do I win?
Well, Mein Teil is my favorite, but Deutschland's getting there.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that just the other day.
Because when I do my treadmill, I like to start with Deutschland. Although the Small Boy remix of Ich Tue Weh is lots of fun.
I've seen Tool 3 times, and I'm like 10 years younger than Shannon. Me too. I'm not 10 years younger, but
Last time Tool came to Vancouver, I wasn't able to see them. So
me either. The tickets sold out so quick. And they're expensive. Do the Hawks keep Strom around next year? Will Ron Francis draft the entire 1987 Whalers team for the expansion draft?
I think the Hawks will try to hold on to Strom for one more year. We'll see what happens there. Anyways, we should probably get going.
Yes.
It's been 2 hours.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I missed a super
Anyways,
chat.
guys, you missed a super chat again?
It says I missed a super chat. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Come here. Oh, I did. It's right there. Hey, Shannon, since you're famous. Maybe you can call EA in Vancouver and tell them to stop being lazy.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
that's how it works. Hey, so I'm
right.
the hockey guy, and this is what you should do.
Anyways, guys.
Next live stream.
Yeah, we'll see. But we should be doing these about once a week now that the schedule's settled down. So keep your eyes clear. All right.
Eyes clear.
Yeah, and your ears open. So yeah. Thanks, guys, for coming out, and we'll do this soon. So,
yeah.
And of course, for patrons and members, we do that every Monday. So
we'll have the Patreon live stream on Monday, like we do every week.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out.
All right. The end.